Hey there folks, Pliskin by 51mm, and I'm here at work, as you can see over there. It's currently like probably close to 1:40 by now. I clocked out early. We'd all planned to clock out at 2:30, but I clocked out at 1:30 because before work started, I slipped and fucked up my right leg. I mean, of course, when I did it, it didn't hurt at all, but let me swallow this pretzel. Naturally, of course, you can get to work and work a few hours standing on it, and now the sumbitch is on fire from the back of my heel on up halfway in the middle of my calf on my right leg. So that's no fun. But I figured I'd do an update video. I got more M1A loaded videos to do, or to upload, because I wasn't able to get them all uploaded last week, because we did this big old shoot with 165 grain Lapua ammo, 308, with them when they loaded. And I cover it in the video itself, but that was originally going to be slated as a versus video between the M1A loaded and the M1A Scout Squad, or M14A4 as I've called it. And I addressed this in that video when I made it, or later in the video when I reviewed the groups, but the scope mount on the Scout Squad came loose, so it kind of goofed up any chance of even getting a decent versus video. So we got to remount the scope mount on the M1A Scout Squad because the AMS rail came loose. And redo all that, make sure, and then this time get it on there tight, because it came loose. So that's kind of my fault, because I had a whole procedure I was wanting to go through in order to get it tightened down, but I ran out of ammo and time, and then bad weather kicked in, which also screwed things up. So just is how it is. But I'll have to redo all that and get the M1A Scout Squad, or M14A4 as I called it, squared back up. Since I'm making this video and I ain't got nowhere else to go, I gotta wait for my sister and her boyfriend to get through their shift. I got asked a question earlier on YouTube. Somebody left me a comment. Now, normally when I'm up here at work, we get like 2 15-minute breaks and 1 30-minute break. And most of the time, it never fails whenever I'm at work. It's usually when I get some of my best comments or questions from viewers, and I'm up here and I can't really respond to them, or I have to like screenshot them or save them in order to respond to them properly. But normally that's how it goes. But the question was, somebody asked on when I did my initial video on the M1A Scout Squad MBS, somebody asked on that video, they said, which do I prefer more, the M1A loaded or the M1A Scout Squad? And I may as well turn this into this. Think of this video here as kind of like a preliminary to, or a run up to it, if you will. I answered that question because I'll do another video on it when I get both of them, where I can physically hold on to, or like show them to you guys and all that. But my answer was The M1A loaded. Now, I've had the M1A loaded for nearly a decade. I've had the M1A loaded for 10 years come 2025. So it's the one I've had the most experience with. The M1A Scout Squad, on the other hand, I haven't even had it for a year. And the difference there being is that the M1A loaded has been around the block a couple times, if you know what I mean. It's had thousands of rounds shot through it. I'd say over 1,000. I'd just, be conservative. I may have shot more through it than that. I don't know. Um, I know I've put a lot of 308 through that rifle, and I've put a lot of 308 downrange in my life. It's probably the second most fired cartridge that I have under my belt, other than, like, say, 22 and 7.65 Mauser. Just saying. I mean, 5.56 and all that's probably catching up now, dude, because I'm working and making money. But I've shot a lot of 308 in my life. But that being said, the M1A loaded just kind of had time to wear into itself, if that makes sense. Like all the harmonics of the barrel, the way the bolt cams and locks in the receiver. The triggers broke in for sure. The loaded's trigger, even though it's not with the loaded rifle anymore, but on the Scout Squad, it's really fine tuned over from years of going bang. So the M1A loaded's trigger is all squared away. Now I'm making that a point because when that comes to a versus video between two M14s, one I've owned for almost 10 years, and the other I've owned for barely almost a year. It'll be a year this June. The M1A Scout Squad hasn't had the time. I haven't been able to shoot it and that much. I mean, don't get me wrong. From the videos you guys have seen me make of it, I have rapid fired the shit out of it, to say the least. That more than I have the loaded, and there's a reason for that, and I'll get to it in this video, and when I finally do the big video where I've got both of them out and I can, like, hold them up and show them to the camera and all that. But I've put a lot of rounds through the M1A Scout Squad too. I'd say I've probably put about 200, maybe 300 rounds through it by now. But and that's just me being conservative off the top of my head. It may be less than that, but I'm just giving a number, and I think 300 is fair because I put a lot. That atomic ammo that I shot through it was 50 rounds, and I've shot a bunch of, like, I've put a lot of PMC 308 through the Scout Squad, so I've shot it quite a bit. But that being said, it's still fairly new, if that makes sense. So the accuracy between the two, from everything I've seen, I mean, I haven't had the time to do the accuracy tests that I have been able to do with the loaded over the years. But from what I can tell, with basic ball ammo, the two of them group pretty much about damn near the same. With like PMC and Winchester white box 7.62 NATO, stuff like that. I've not run no XM80C through the Scout Squad yet. That's because XM80C is basically non-existent now. You used to see that everywhere, and now it's just zip. And I think the war in Ukraine has to do a lot with that, because Federal's pumping out, probably sending car loads of 7.62 by 51 millimeter NATO XM80C over there in M80 ball. So that's probably why I'm not seeing no more of it at Walmart. But the point I'm getting at, though, is the M1A loaded, having shot it more and it's had more time to break in. I noticed that it, especially since I put it in the wood stock, my gut's tearing up, by the way, so if you hear that, that's what that is. But the M1A loaded is a lot more accurate. But now this is how I answered the question to that comment, is that the M1A, out of the two of them, I've shot the loaded for nearly a decade, and it's had almost, well, 1,000 rounds to it. But I mean, the accuracy difference between the two, when you really get behind the rifles, is pretty much night and day. I mean, the Scout Squad group's pretty damn good too. I mean, with ball ammo, the accuracy is pretty much the same, but with match stuff, the loaded beats it by far. Now, I'll have to, like, when I get the Scout Squad scoped again, make sure the scope stays on there, I'll definitely have to take them out and kind of like do a side by side with some match ammo. Just kind of go up from like maybe ball ammo to like 150 grain hunting ammo types, and then up to like the match stuff, and compare the two, because this guy's comment it's kind of got me, that idea of a versus video between the two in my head, and it's something that I would like to do in the future. But accuracy wise, the loaded has got the Scout Squad beat when it comes to higher end ammo, even with the ball stuff. I mean, the other, like last week when I was shooting it, just putting it into that new wood stock, it was grouping unbelievably better than it had been previously, even in the synthetic stock. So that says a lot right there. But the Scout Squad, it will shoot about, when I was shooting atomic 168 grain 308 through it, it was getting, I think, around like 1.25 MOA, something like that. And that's with an 18-inch barrel and a 1:6 scope on top when it was before the scope came loose. So, I mean, the accuracy with it's pretty decent as well. But where the Scout Squad has the loaded beat is its compactness. Now, the loaded's got a medium weight National Match barrel in it, and that makes it beefy from the word go. And then I threw a 4 to 12 Redfield Revolution on it, and a National Match op rod spring guide, which I put one of those in the Scout Squad too, so they helped the Scout Squad out a lot too. Doing that upgrade basically from the beginning. But the loaded is heavier because it's got the scope, beefier scope mount on it, an actual rifle scope, not an LVPO, and it's got a medium weight National Match barrel, so it's a heavier gun. It's a longer gun, so it's made more for just like laying down on a sandbag and hitting at a distance, and it's got semi-auto capability for up close, and then repeatability at distance if you need to make rapid fire shots. But the Scout Squad has the loaded beat in maneuverability and compactness, especially since I put it in that Delta 14 chassis. The Delta 14 chassis, as I said, I made a video saying that's probably the best upgrade for an M14 M1A, and it is, because you're taking that synthetic stock off, the one that it came with, and putting one on that weighs less than the factory stock already, and you're getting, the world's your oyster. You can put foregrips on it, lights, lasers, any kind of AR pistol grip, AR buttstock, any AR buffer tube, and just rock and roll. And you put that in there with the Scout Squad, and you got a lightweight 18-inch powerhouse that can bring the heat and at distance end up close. So that's another reason why I also rapid fire the Scout Squad as much as I do, because it doesn't have that National Match barrel. Now, I've been on the M14 forums. I got an account over there, and I've talked to the guys over there for a little bit. It's been about 3 years since I've been on over there. COVID just kind of, it really wasn't even COVID. I don't know, 2020 came around, I just kind of didn't go over there much anymore. I need to go back over there, but that's just kind of like how it is with all sorts of stuff, I guess I got burned out. Not so much because anybody over there, because of anybody over there. It's just one of those things, you get doing other stuff and just kind of forget. So I still have the account over there, and there's still forums that I posted over there, and people have answered to them. But it's been about 3 years, but I've talked to guys over there when I was more active over there. They said that rapid firing with the national match barrel is no big issue. So I am inclined to believe them on that. That that wouldn't be a big issue. So, but I digress. I don't burn the barrel on the bigger M14. I've rapid fired the M1A loaded. If you go back in my channel, and especially the 4th of July videos from 2017 when me and my buddies got out and shot the most ammo that we've ever shot in our lives up to that point, basically. That was the best 4th of July ever. You guys really ought to go watch those videos. It's pretty funny. But that was back before I got all my semi-autos. I had the M1A, but we burned shit up, and we mag dumped shotguns, and I mag dumped that M14. So I have taken the big M1A out and lit up. I lit up a boat with the M14 loaded. I've shot an actual freaking boat with the M14 loaded. So, and that was a full 20 round mag dump on that too. So, I have taken it out and, got the barrel pretty hot, but since it's a bigger rifle and it's got that national match barrel, I don't tend to, you know, go Rambo with it as much as I do the little one. The little one, oh my God, with the muzzle brake up on the front and the Delta 14 stock, you can really lay down some hate with the Scout Squad. That's a lot of 308 that you're putting in one spot real quick with barely any muzzle rise, because it comes with that factory muzzle brake that Springfield puts on. And you're just able to just sit there and hold on a target and just bam, 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 and the barrel barely moves. It's wild. I think it's shoots flatter than my M70 AK, to be honest. And I put a DTK, I think 14L. I always forget the full name for that, on the M70 ZPAP. So, a Scout Squad and the Delta 14 chassis is the way to go if you're wanting to have fire superiority in a short area at a moment's notice. So between the two of them, and that's the answer I gave to that fellow. And I'll be doing more videos on this topic as time goes, because I'm not going to get rid of either M1A forever. They're both here to stay for the foreseeable future. But the M14 loaded, M1A loaded, much more accurate with, heavier grain ammo, match grade ammo that I've noticed. And the Scout Squad has very good accuracy as well, although not to the same degree. And I will say too that I've hand loaded for the loaded, the M1A loaded model, and with hand loads it really does come in. Hand loads makes a difference. I don't know if I'll hand load for the Scout Squad. I might, maybe in the future, but I've got them set up for two totally different roles. M1A loaded, more distance rifle, and then Scout Squad more up close, CQB, medium distance DMR style rifle. So, but that's the difference. The loaded is got more accuracy in match grade department, and even in ball ammo department with the new stock I've put on it. But the Scout Squad is lighter, and you can lay down the hate with rapid fire, and the accuracy is pretty much on par. But it's not going to be at it. From everything I've seen so far, it's not right at the loaded. The loaded still beats it in accuracy, but it's so damn close. If you're just an average, if you're wanting the 308 and the Scout Squad's your go-to, you're going to be able to put a decent sized group on something at 100 yards. So there's no big issue there. But the loaded group's tighter overall. So, but all in all, they're both great guns, and I'll touch up on this more. But that's the answer I gave. So anyway, guys, this has been Pliskin. I'll do more videos on this later. I'll upload those videos of the loaded try to over the weekend. And I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Peace.